Well, shemai everyone, I'm back again with another Christmas card video, and this is the one I'm making tonight. And I was actually inspired by Christy of Christy's Crafty Life, and she made a card, and they actually, Lawnfawn make a die that's got all these little windows cut out, and I thought, I wonder if I can do that with my framelets. So that's what I've come up with. So I'm using from the brand new Christmas catalogue, Freezin'Fun, because I love these little creatures. And the sentiment I'm using for this card is Merry Christmas from Snow Place, which is a really old stamp set. And here's how I'm going to do it. So I've done all my stamping ready. I've also cut out the little snowbanks, which is a great die with the Freezing Friends. I love these little snowbanks. So I'm going to sort of cut and chop those to get them to suit. So what you need is a selection of, I've used my rectangle dies, but you could use the same square die if you've got square dies instead. And Christy calls it a comic strip card. And what I've got is a piece of card which measures 5 by 7 because I'm using a pre-scored card here. But obviously you can whatever card you've got, or whether you're making your own card base, you can cut this then to suit. Then I've got another piece then that's going to go behind, which I'm actually going to do some blending on, some ink blending. And I'm going to use Balmy Blue just to do the bit of the background. So that's slightly smaller, because I don't want it hanging over the edge or underneath my top piece of card. And then my red mat, this is real red, and that's 7.5 by 5.5. Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to put those to one side, and I'm going to show you first. Let me just check once again I've got the right card. What I did was I moved my little framelets around, and I'm using the rectangular stitch framelets. But because I needed another one of a similar size, which I haven't got, I then used one of my stitch shape framelets, which has got the stitching on the inside but not the outside. So as you can see on this one, I don't know whether you can see it in this light, but 3 of the cutouts have got the little stitching on the outside, except for this one, but I'm sure whoever I send it to will forgive me for that. So what I just did, I then used my T-square ruler to get my framelets pretty straight. I'm sure they're not absolutely bang on. So I'm going to use my grid paper as well to help me. So let me just show you how I did it. So I'm just going to move it up slightly to where I think they should be. Just resting the edge, and I'm going to use some very thin washi tape. This one is pretty good to use because it's losing some of its stick, which means when I pull it off, it doesn't pull any of the paper off. If you've got the painter's tape, that's also very good. So I'm just putting a little piece there, but I am also going to put a little bit down in this corner. Then I'm just going to do the similar sort of thing with this one. And it's however then you want it to look. I'm also thinking of doing a similar design and using the little gnomes. I was thinking if I turned it that way, I could have the 3 little gnomes and their home in there. So that's going to be my next project, I think. So just hold it down in place. Put your framelet down. Obviously, if you've got the Lawnfawn ready-made die, that'll be perfect. But I'm determined to use what I've got. So that's why I'm going for this idea. Now, as you can see, these ones are, I know what I've done wrong. This one belongs to the top. I was thinking then, how have I got such a small gap on this card? So then, here we go. And this is a little bit fiddly because you want it to look fairly straight. You want it to look like you've at least made the effort to make it straight, isn't it? Then this one, because it's slightly bigger, just sort of eyeballing the height of it and then straightening it up. Okay, and then using my washi again. And I'll very carefully turn it. And as you can see, I'm just putting a little bit of washi tape at each corner. Try not to use a washi tape that is too sticky because it will sometimes tear your cardstock when you pull it off. Now I know that I've made my sentiment quite thick for this card, so I might have to just shuffle this one down slightly so it's more in line, and then to leave a space then for my sentiment to go. But you could do it with circles as well. Whatever frameless you've got, give it a try. So I'm just going to run this now through my Big Shot, keeping it pretty straight. Excuse the state of my cutting platform, my cutting plate, sorry. They are due for a little change. There we go. Just run it through. Now, because sometimes I find these stitched framelets can sometimes be reluctant to cut on the first roll through, so I do it twice. And to check that you've cut them, if you turn them over, you can see then that the lines are full. So there we go. That's that done. I love these little critters because of the fact they've got the matching framelets as well. Because the thought of having to cut those out, I'd probably never use. I would just never ever bother. Because although I like fussy cutting, I don't think I like it that much. So I'm just gently easing these off now. And obviously keep the pieces from the inside because they're perfect for sentiments or for stamping things that you're going to cut out with your die cuts. There we go. Okay, so there is my little die cut frame. And I'm going to do it this way because my little sentiment strip, I'm going to put across the centre there. Okay, right, next job. Bring in your other piece of Whisper White card. And I'm going to use, as I said, balmy blue. And I'm going to use a big blending brush now. Just obviously whatever blending tools you've got will be absolutely fine. The big orange yellow sponges are fine. And it's just to give it a snowy sort of feel in the background. I'm not doing anything particularly special with it. If you notice, I do slightly start off the paper because sometimes you will get the round effect of the brush. But I find you do it less with these brushes. These are cheap makeup brushes. I got mine on Amazon. And I think I had about 7 or 8 of them for less than £10. There. There's my snowy sort of feel. There it is. Okay, so it's probably a bit hard to tell in this light, but as you can see, it's just got a little layer of blue on it. Then I'm also going to ink the edge of my snowdrifts. Now I'm not going to use them all, but I'll ink them all because I'll need to sort of fit them together. Then you need to do a little bit of Frankensteining to fit them all together. So I'm just doing the edges. And I love the stitch edge on it. And the great thing is about this die, because it's stitched both sides, you can get 2 snowbanks out of 1 cut. As you can see, this one is just from an off cut, but that's going to be hidden by the base of the card anyway. So waste not, want not. There we go. On another one now. Because even if I don't use them all on this card, I'll probably only need to ink them the next time I use them. Now on my original card, I've got a join in it, but I just made sure that I put one of my images and stuck it over it. So that's all we need the blue for at the moment. So our next job then is to decide how you want your snowdrifts to look. Now this one fits quite nicely across there. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm actually going to put a little bit of glue across the bottom. There we are, like that. And then this then will just poke out like that. So just turn it over then to see how it's looking. So as you can see there, just a little bit of a snowbank. And oh, this one, look at that, made to measure on this card. There we go. Now for this one is you need obviously your glue there, and then some glue across there. Luckily enough, I've cut this from a wider piece of card, so we can grab it then on both sides. It's a little bit tighter this side, so I'm going to use some of my washi tape just to secure it across there. There we go. Right, so there is the base of the card ready. There it is, look, like that. So that's how it'll look before we add all our little creatures in, as if we're looking through little windows. And I wanted to raise it off. So what I've used are these little tiny adhesive strips that are in the catalogue. I'm sure they're still in the catalogue. And now if you wanted to, obviously you could do this like a shaker card, but I sort of kept it a bit simpler. There we go. And because obviously there's nothing that's going to fall out, you haven't got to go right to the edges. Just sort of cut that bit there. But this was such a fun card to make. If you're looking for somebody who, I know Christy from Christy's Crafty Life uses all her Copic markers. I don't have Copics, I just use my Stampin' Up blends. She makes the most stunning cards. So if you're looking for somebody who does some lovely colouring, but also some fabulous card ideas, she's a great one to follow. There we go. I've got to use my pokey tool to get these backings off because they're a bit reluctant to come off. There we are. Oh, turn the whole thing off. And then, once I put the frame on, then I can start arranging all my little creatures, which is the fun bit. Okay, so there we go. And, oh, that's handy, isn't it? So then, because we got a little tiny bit of a gap, I'm just going to lean over. So apologies if you see my frizzy head. Bit of a mistake here. Right, I'm going to come clean. Because I'd made my bottom sheet smaller, when I stuck it to my top sheet, you could see all the foam tape. So I have improvised, and I've actually used, instead of going through the whole process of inking the background again, I've used a little bit of balmy blue. I thought, right, let's cut out the middleman here. So here's my card, finally ready. And now I'm going to make up my design. So let's have a little look. I'm going to see who fits best in the different windows. And I'm going to put, because I want to have the two trees. And the great thing is, because you've added it on foam, you can then add a little bit of like perspective, I suppose the posh word would be. So then we've got a foreground and a background. And then you can arrange your figures to suit. Now, because obviously this one is going to go here, I just need to put some foam tabs on the top, and then I'm going to add a little bit of glue because he's going to stick to this little bank of snow here. There we go. And he is actually coming off his little snowboard. So I'm going to stick the snowboard to the snowbank like that. But he is going in the background then. And I'm going to stick him up on foam pads. Like so, as if he's just sort of taking a bit of a leap of faith. There he is, with his little scarf flying. Then he is coming across here at a mad speed. Let's have a look. I couldn't remember what I needed then. Some foam pads for the top, and then a bit of glue then across the bottom of his sleigh. These, if you haven't purchased this set, they are a bit of a must. They are fab to use. Then he is down here and he's on his little ice pond here. So I'm going to actually stick this one to the snow. There. And then he's going to be up on foam pads behind. And little do they all know, he's made a little selection of ice snowballs, but I'm going to put my tree behind here as well. I forgot my tree. So that's going flat, and I'm just going to tuck that then behind the frame. There it is. The nice thing is you can make all these little scenes with these characters. There he is, and here's the little snowballs that he's getting ready to throw at his friends. There we go. And then he is going to be whizzing across here. I think I'll put him a little bit more towards the centre to stop this corner looking so bare. And I've noticed now that I'm sort of further away from my card now since I've had to restart my camera. What a silly thing to do. I think I'll put these little pile of snowballs the other side of him. Like that. He's up to no good. Then I'm going to put this across here. And I'm going to actually put this on glue. And I used the banner edge punch for this. Just to give it the little flag ends. Here we go. So I'll just bring it up to show you there. And I'm going to back it then on my real red piece. Now for this, I'm going to use glue just to give me a little bit of wiggle room, because my double-sided tape is a little bit unforgiving. And once it's stuck, it's stuck. So I wanted to make sure that I get it in the centre where it should be. And I've actually made this mat a little bit bigger than my original card. When I make my original ones, I don't measure, I just think, oh, that looks okay. And then that then is going on there. And then I'm going to add some Nuvo drops, or you could add the little snowflake sequins, or you could draw them on with a little white pen. And add some Nuvo drops then to be my snow. And then that's all done. So as you can see, is a different one to this, because obviously I messed up the background. But as you can see, there are so many different designs you could do. You could do it as if they were doing all this at night. So you could use like Night of Navy and have a navy background. You could have it on a completely white background and have your frame a different colour. Just going to add some Nuvo drops. And I'm going to put it far away from me, because what usually happens as soon as I add Nuvo drops, I go and put my elbow or something in them. Or I drop something else on top. So there we go. I'll just bring it up to the camera to show you. So as you can see, I've heat embossed the sentiment, the Merry Christmas sentiment. They've got a little bit of Nuvo then. I'm also going to, when it's a bit drier, I'll put some Wink of Stella across the snowbanks, the sandbanks, the snowbanks, and then that's done, and that's another one ready for Christmas. So as I say, that's using Freezin'Fun and Freezin' Friends, and using the rectangular stitched dies. So I'll also put a link to Christie's Crafty Life to show you the card that inspired me. And happy crafting everyone, and I'll see you soon. Hwyl fawr ffrindiau. Bye!